All right. So glad to be here with you all as we're in this journey today. Hey, how's everybody out there? Hope y'all, if you're struggling, especially with life, I just wish the best for you. I just ask that you be well. Hope you have breakthroughs because they are so more than they. You are so worth breakthroughs, and every good thing. I'm AJ McMahon. Thank you for being here at the Power of Able Network. You are able, your child is able. It may not seem like it. The struggles are very real. It can seem like your child has a disorder like ADHD, but chances are they are a child who is capable of overcoming the struggle, even though they haven't been able to, even though it doesn't seem like it, even though there seems to be no hope. There is, and this is just not just a rah-rah statement. This is the evidence and the truth of children that we are here to embrace, we get to capture because your child is likely able to overcome the difficulties. We get a chance to understand how to help them unlock their ability. And that's what it's about. First, we want to unlock your ability to be able to empower you to help children, mainly 12 and under, overcome medium challenges. That's what we're doing. We're talking about practical wisdom because you have wisdom. You can seek wisdom. The world doesn't want you to believe or know that you have everything you need in you, and with some help added, you will have what you need to be able to put together an effective plan to empower your child to succeed. The world wants you to be discouraged. The world wants you to be the world wants you to be frustrated and give up to the point that you may turn to other sources of things that appear to be wisdom, but in the end are not. Your child, well, you likely have the ability to empower your child, a child, those children to overcome the challenges they have with your wisdom, maybe seeking wisdom from a higher source or authority like God, or maybe there's a source here on earth, that you can tap into. I encourage you, whatever source or sources of wisdom, that you find them to be true wisdom, that you let them align with your spirit and your wisdom to empower you to get practical and put things together to make a plan that you believe in and can act consistently to empower a child, your child, those children to overcome the challenges that they may have. Even if you have a child out there that's on psychotropic drugs and they are doing better, it doesn't stop there. The psychotropic drugs can be very effective in symptom reduction, but children have struggles. They continue to have breakthroughs of symptoms because the psychotropic drugs can be very effective, but they can only do so much. They cannot teach a child skills. And at the end of the day, your child is able to develop skills and needs that because otherwise, they just have the drug to do the work for them. And even if for a time psychotropics are something as a part of your repertoire and helping your child, that's okay. As long as you don't stop there, as long as you understand that I can't say the only way, that the way that I have found that people can be empowered to overcome, that children can be empowered to overcome the struggles is through your diligent effort to still train them in line to build the skills that they need. Being on the drugs, although they may be practicing the skills, they're more, um, that's more driven by the influence of the psychotropics, okay? The psychotropic drugs, the Adderall, the Strattera, Daytrain, or whatever it might be. We get an opportunity to look at how to empower them underneath, to be able to look at those areas where they're still having struggles, where they may be going to school and performing better there, or basically during those periods of time where the psychotropic drug is in their system. But you have other times where the struggle can be there, or even if largely your child is not having a behavior struggle and mainly it's for school and they're performing well in school. And then the weekends are not on the psychotropic, but They're just doing well. Still, whatever that challenge is, the challenge to pay attention, to transition, to control their emotions, behavior, whatever that might be, your child still needs your diligent effort, your wisdom. And people out there, you have wisdom. I implore you to be able to tap into that, to still put together a plan to empower your child in that specific area of struggle. What can it be? Can it be books or studying on the weekends? Not to exasperate them. That's not what I mean. But where they can have the challenge without the psychotropic to wrestle with it, but you empower them step by step to be able to build the skills, and with it their confidence and belief in themselves that they can overcome, because likely they can. And that's why we're here. We're talking about medium challenges today because we want to be in a place where we can help a lot of you at one time. And medium challenges, as we're talking about some of these factors, you may say, well, we're past medium, AJ. We were past medium a long time ago. In my mind, we are to hard, we're to difficult, we're to mission impossible here. Okay. Some of you may say, hey, AJ, we don't feel like the challenges are medium. We're maybe curious about this. The challenges are mild at best. We're kind of maybe even laugh, when we see some of the struggles a child has, the defiance, the no, or whatever might be going on. But wherever you are, your child needs you. Your child needs your wisdom. If you're a professional, a child can truly benefit from your wisdom and what you glean from our journey together. So we're talking about empowering children with medium challenges. When you have questions, when you have comments, that's why we're here. Please put those below. Like and subscribe so we can stay connected, so we can be on this journey together. Because the journey of wisdom is something that can be difficult and challenging. My 6-year-old son, Isaac, had struggles this week where he was physically sick. It was something like a flu over the weekend. And when it came to the first part of this week, he was having these pains. He would wake up and say his legs were hurting. He was having these pains. He couldn't go to school. We didn't know what to make of that. I mean, it was very confusing, and I had to search in my prayer life, and I had to search, just in my heart. I had to pray and think and ask for wisdom, because it was hard to know how to handle it. It was confusing because we were facing something that we didn't really understand with this leg pain he was complaining of, and then what to do about it. And that's very difficult. It's very challenging to be faced with something where you're just not sure. Well, there's a problem, right? But you're not sure what to do about it. And I know a lot of you out there are in this boat, just like I was this week. And part of me sharing this story, and well, let me finish it because, we kind of want to hear how things turned out. So, most of the time when kids complain of physical things like their stomach aching or their head hurting, we can wonder if they really mean it. What I mean is we can they're they really have something going on, or maybe they're bringing it up because they want to get out of something. Um, Most of the time, well, okay, in my experience, in my 27 years of working with children and families, I've found that it is extremely rare that a child will make up physical symptoms like that. Now, they might embellish them a little bit, maybe exaggerate them a little bit, but it's very rare that they make up physical symptoms. Typically, there's something going on. Does that mean that what can be hard to tell is, where what that might mean. Is it to the degree that they can't do something? That can be very hard to discern. So we ultimately used our wisdom and then that led us to, after a couple of days of working with Isaac, to take him to the pediatrician. And the pediatrician gave us some information that this was something that could be a phenomenon post flu, and gave us a time frame of when he would be expected to be better, and that's all kind of worked out. And so it was helpful to apply our own wisdom, but then be able to go to another source and get some information based on experience and combine that. And that has been very helpful. I just want to say that when you're confused, when you don't know what's going on, that doesn't mean that you lack wisdom. You may have been working with your children for years and you haven't seen, or months or years, and you haven't seen the outcomes that you hope for. That doesn't mean that you lack wisdom. That doesn't mean that you're a failure. A lot of times we need something beyond us, something in addition, to be able to apply to our own wisdom to unlock the full picture. And that's part of why I'm here. Part because I don't expect to be the source of wisdom. I expect hopefully to be one part of unlocking the wisdom that you need to empower your child to overcome the challenges that they have. We're focusing on children 12 and under in this series, although this can be extrapolated a bit to teenagers, but you got to use your wisdom, because it's a little bit children so 12 and under. The reason we focus on that age group is because by brain development, they're basically in the same boat. Okay. When we get to around somewhere 13, 14, 15, our brains take the next leap in development, where we go from concrete thinking to abstract thinking. Okay. To be able to focus on practical wisdom today, we won't get into those elements of the theory as far as brain development, but you can look up some of the definitions of concrete versus abstract thinking in children, and there's some good videos out there and information. You can also check out other videos that I put out in this series and tap into the information, where I give a lot of overall information. But when we get down to practical wisdom, we're focusing on children 12 and under who are developmentally concrete thinkers, meaning they see things pretty much in black and white. Okay. One great example of this is when it comes to knock knock jokes. All right. When you tell knock knock jokes to kids, they can laugh and kind of get the humor, but knock knock jokes can be a little bit abstract. Most of the time, children 12 and under are not really laughing because they get the abstractness, such as knock knock, who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange, you glad to see me? And then we all laugh, right? And children laugh at that. But a lot of times they're not really getting that we're using the word orange in place of aren't. They're just they know knock knock is a joke and they're kind of laughing along, but they don't really quite get that. They're just kind of in the humor, and that's all socially appropriate. We can tell that they struggle with abstract thought and that they're concrete thinkers, because ask a young child typically to share a knock knock joke. Now, they may parrot one or repeat one and everything, but typically, if they're making up their own joke, they'll say something like this: knock knock. You say, who's there? And they'll say, door. Door who? The door opened and everybody came in. Ha ha ha. They'll just laugh and have and it's pretty much concrete. Like what do doors do? Doors open, people come in, right? When children when children tell knock knock jokes, a lot of times when they're making up their own, this is a great example of their concreteness. They usually see things in black and white terms. So they're concrete thinkers. Why does that matter when we're talking about children? Because we want to understand them from a developmental perspective. They see things in black and white. That a lot of times when they have struggles with behavior, they can say that they can't, or that they're bad, or these different things that we take to mean that they're unable to developmentally or with their brain, or that they are crying out to us saying that their potential is locked, but that's not really what's happening. What they're expressing is in concrete terms, that they want to do something well, but they're not able to do it. Why are they not able to do it? Because when we look at other aspects of brain development that we've talked about in other videos, they come into play. So when it comes down to it, we get to understand that children need empowerment. They need empowerment to unlock their ability. And a lot of people out there were like, I have AJ, I have worked with my child, I've tried everything and nothing has worked. What are you talking about, this empowerment? Most of the time, the empowerment needs to look like you being able to put together a comprehensive plan that you can enact on a consistent basis for weeks and months. Okay, because most of the time you got to be in a process that is effective before you see performance, before you see a major change. That can be one of the lures of the psychotropic drugs. The changes can be instantaneous and it can be a huge relief, but when it comes to us doing it the natural way of empowering our children, it takes quite a bit of effort to put together a comprehensive plan and then to enact it over weeks and months before you really start seeing the fruit of that process. You have to have something you believe in, because your child likely is going to try to thwart your efforts, because children are intelligent. And although they know the processes they're in are not the best for them, they're getting this life candy, if you will, that they know the better things that you're trying to instill, such as their ability to listen, respect, attend, do the things that they don't really want to put their energy into, to control themselves and not have the outbursts and not get in situations to lead to these wild behaviors that are so hard to understand, that make us believe that there's no way our children's brains can be healthy and functioning well because this behavior we can't understand. Whatever these challenges are, that children need our help to be able to have a plan to empower them to overcome these challenges. And we're talking specifically through the practical wisdom of the guide of the LEAP steps, the best way that I can offer us to journey together. And I'm excited about that. If you check out part 1 of Practical Wisdom for Empowering Children to Overcome Medium Challenges, we talked about the LEAP step love and the LEAP step expectation of excellence. We're not going to cover those again today, but we're going to continue to talk about the third step in LEAP, the A in LEAP, affirming accountability. With affirming accountability, we want to affirm them with our words, but hold them accountable with actions. Okay. In today's time, we have done very well with affirming kids. However, the problem is that the affirming is embodied as the empowerment of our children, whereas the affirming is essential, but it is not going to be effective without accountability. I think in past times, there was a lot of accountability in the sense of, if you maybe want to call it discipline or punishment